Donald Trump just declared economic war on America's closest ally, and the consequences could send gas prices soaring across the Midwest within weeks. But here's what nobody's telling you. The country he's targeting might actually hold all the cards. This isn't just another trade dispute. This is about who controls the energy that powers half of America, and the answer might shock you. While headlines scream about U.S. tariffs on Canada and trade wars, something far more dangerous is happening beneath the surface. The United States just slapped a 25% tariff on nearly everything crossing the Canadian border. Cars, metals, lumber, you name it. But buried in that policy is one glaring exception that exposes America's greatest vulnerability. Canadian oil from Alberta only faces a 10% tariff. Why? Because Washington knows a truth it doesn't want to admit. America cannot survive without Canadian energy. Over 62% of U.S. oil imports come from Canada. In the Midwest, nearly 3/4 of refinery input is Canadian crude. These aren't just numbers. These are the arteries of American energy security, and they all lead north. If that flow stops, production grinds to a halt. Gas prices explode. Industries collapse. So why would Trump risk everything by threatening the one country that literally keeps American refineries running? Before we go further, hit that like button. It helps this reach people who need to see what's really happening with U.S. energy policy and the Canada trade war. Here's the part most analysts are missing. America's refineries in the Midwest and Gulf Coast weren't built for just any oil. They were specifically engineered decades ago to process heavy, sulfur-rich crude from Alberta's oil sands. These facilities are hardwired for Canadian energy. Switching to lighter oil from Texas or importing from the Middle East isn't a simple flip. It would cost billions in retrofitting and could bring production to a crawl almost overnight. Energy analysts call this America's self-inflicted constraint. The infrastructure is locked in. Without Canadian oil, many U.S. refineries simply cannot operate at full capacity. Some would have to shut down completely. The result? Gasoline prices could surge 15 to 20% in weeks, hitting American consumers harder than any tariff revenue could justify. But while Washington plays hardball with tariffs, Canada has been quietly building an escape route. In May 2024, the Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion came online, tripling capacity to 890,000 barrels per day. For the first time ever, Canadian oil can bypass the United States entirely and ship directly to global markets from the Pacific coast. By mid-2025, Canada's oil exports to Asia hit nearly 400,000 barrels per day, up from just 80,000 the year before. China has become a major buyer, reshaping the entire global energy supply chain. If you're still watching, subscribe now. We're exposing stories the mainstream media won't touch about U.S. energy independence and North America trade. This is where the irony gets brutal. Every tariff Trump places on Canada boomerangs back at American consumers. Economists are calling it the mirror wall effect. If the U.S. extends that 25% tariff to Canadian oil, the Midwest gets crushed first. States like Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio, where factories depend on Canadian crude, would see immediate production slowdowns. Energy-intensive industries, including AI computing and defense manufacturing, rely on the 33 terawatt-hours of electricity the U.S. imports from Canada annually. Disrupt that flow, and you're not just affecting oil. You're threatening national security infrastructure. The tariffs designed to protect American jobs could be the very thing that destroys them. It's protectionism turned into economic self-sabotage, and Canada knows it. Prime Minister Mark Carney's government has responded not with threats, but with strategy. Ottawa calls it the end of one-way energy dependence. Canada is diversifying, becoming both a traditional oil powerhouse and a leader in clean technology. Under the new tiered engagement strategy, Canadian energy companies are locking in long-term contracts across Asia and Europe. They're not abandoning the U.S. market, they're just making sure they don't need it anymore. The Trans Mountain expansion has already generated billions in additional revenue for companies like Cenovus and Suncor, by narrowing the price gap between Western Canadian crude and global benchmarks. That money is funding what Ottawa calls the Made in Canada Energy Corridor, an integrated system linking oil, gas, and green hydrogen development. Every barrel shipped today carries more than crude value. It carries leverage. As America turns inward, global markets are looking north. In the first half of 2025, Canadian energy exports to China and Asia reached 3.88 billion Canadian dollars, an 81% increase year over year. Major economies like Japan, South Korea, and Germany are signing long-term deals with Canadian suppliers, not because it's cheaper, but because Canada offers something rare in today's world: predictability. While Trump threatens tariffs and trade wars, Canada is weaponizing stability. In a volatile global economy, consistency has become the ultimate competitive advantage. The OECD ranks Canada's energy sector as fully open and transparent, giving it a trust premium that American policy chaos simply cannot match. Investors are betting on reliability, and right now, that means betting on Canada. Here's the reality Washington doesn't want to face. The energy map of North America is being redrawn, not by the United States, but by the Ottawa-Alberta axis. Every tariff meant to pressure Canada has actually strengthened its position. What started as a dependent relationship has flipped. The quieter player now holds the leverage. Analysts warn this feedback loop is accelerating. If the U.S. keeps weaponizing tariffs, it risks losing control over the energy network it designed. Canada isn't just selling oil anymore. It's selling trust, and in a fractured world, that's the real superpower. The nation that builds corridors is outmaneuvering the nation that builds walls. And as the global economy splinters into rival blocks, one question rises above the noise: who truly controls the flow of power? If this opened your eyes to what's really happening with U.S.-Canada relations and the energy crisis, smash that like button and subscribe for more deep dives on U.S. tariffs, Canadian oil, and the future of North American trade. Drop a comment below with your take. Is America's energy policy putting national security at risk? Stay tuned, because this story is far from over.